Today I'm bringing to you a level 7 Mind Thief build I like to call Vicious Embrace. And it's a build that helps the Mind Thief be effective at higher levels. Generally at higher scenario levels, the Mind Thief runs out of steam a little bit because of high shield amounts on enemies. And so this build's going to use Retaliate, and it's going to allow the Mind Thief to be very effective at higher levels. So what's the problem with Retaliate? Retaliate rarely has range, and so it doesn't work on all enemies. It mostly only works on melee enemies, and you've got to go fast with it, and you've got to make sure you're in the right position, and you've got to make sure enemies are actually attacking. So in this guide, I'm going to give you tips and tricks through some perks, through some enhancements, how to really make your Retaliate effective, how to deal with ranged enemies, and how to really use the Mind Thief to its full potential at higher levels. If you would, at this point, I'd like you to go ahead and like the video, comment on the build, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so that when I make content, you're notified. And just so you know, there's no spoilers in this video. I'm going to have prosperity level 5 items at the end that will really complement this build, but during the build, we'll stick to stuff that everybody knows. So the cards we're using in this build are Vicious Blood, Withering Claw, Corrupting Embrace, the Mind's Weakness, the bottom of Mind's Weakness, not the top, Scurry, Brain Leech, Submissive Affliction, Empathetic Assault, Pilfer, and Cranium Overload. And this build's going to help you with a couple things. So the Mind Thief, a little bit squishy. We're gonna, focus on how you stay alive and retaliate. And then we're gonna focus on how you actually make your Retaliate effective. And I think you're really gonna like some of the strategies I have in here to make sure that you are retaliating effectively. Staying alive. Probably the hardest part about this build is actually staying alive with the Mind Thief, but it can definitely be done. And you're gonna do a few things to make that happen. First is you're going to use the bottom of Empathetic Assault a lot, and you're going to heal up and move into position. Next, you can throw away cards. If you take a big hit, and it's a ×2, and you take 8 or 10 damage, something along those lines, go ahead and throw away a card. It's better than being at low hit points and having to, maneuver around. You want to use your cards somewhat strategically to help you tank. And, use the Empathetic Assault to heal those smaller attacks that are, damaging you. Also, potions help. Good. And then have a friend or two that can throw a heal your way once in a while, and you should be in reasonably good shape. The next thing we're going to talk about, and there's going to be no spoilers here, is items. The items that we're going to take are going to help us shield and tank and mitigate some of that damage. So look for that at the end of the video. It's going to be prosperity level 5 items, but I think from those you'll be able to tell what other items you need, whether you're lower prosperity level or whether you're higher prosperity level. And as well, we're going to use Muddle. And so we're going to use Muddle through some enhancements, through some perks, and through some strategies, and through some cards, so that enemies are very often attacking us with disadvantage. And so between healing, between shields, and between Muddle, you should be able to stay alive relatively easily. Using Retaliate effectively is the second key piece to this build. And so how do we do that? How do we retaliate effectively when we've got ranged enemies? We're going to do that with a couple key strategies. First is we're going to manipulate our attack modifier deck via perks so that we've got Immobilize in there, and that we're going to cycle through our deck really quickly so that we hit those Immobilizes a lot. We're also going to use some cards to immobilize them, and then we're going to make sure that we have good positioning, force them up against walls, do a few things like that, and we're going to go really fast so that, you need to go fast consistently on any Retaliate build. And so we're going to go really fast. We're going to use an item to help us with that. And we're going to use our cards to go nice and fast so that we're always retaliating ahead of monster attacks. Perks are where we take this build to the next level. By manipulating our attack modifier deck through perks, we're going to take this build from a theoretical, looks good on paper, hey, I can do huge Retaliate, etc., 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 to something that really works. and something that's actually going to be effective. Before we get to that though, I would ask that if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and like it down below. Subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so that as I make new content, you're notified. And also please comment below. Up above, I'm going to put a link to a video I've created where I've ranked all of the Gloomhaven classes. And this includes original Gloomhaven, Forgotten Circles, and Jaws of the Lion. So if you're curious as to where your favorite characters rank and who they're better than or worse than amongst all the classes, go ahead and check this video out. The perks you're going to take are as follows. First, you're going to add 2 Immobilize. Then you're going to add 3 Muddle. Then you're going to remove the 4 -1s. Then you're going to remove the 4 +0s. Then you're going to add the 3 pull cards. So the general strategy here is that we're going to go through our deck fast. And no spoilers, but we're going to use Eagle Eye Goggles. And combined with how much we're attacking, we're going to go through between 4 and 10 cards or more, depending on how many rolling modifiers we pull, per turn. And so we're going to cycle through really quickly, and we're going to be able to get those Immobilize and those Muddles. And we want to Immobilize for the ranged enemies to keep them close. And we want to Muddle so that enemies are always attacking us with disadvantage so that we can stay in the fight and we're not having to retreat because we're taking too much damage. The removing cards is so that we can keep the modifier deck small so that we can get to those Immobilize and Muddle. The pull, we're going to add in because they're rolling and they don't effectively increase the modifier deck size. And sometimes we're going to want to get enemies a little bit closer to us if we can't properly position. And so that's going to help draw them in so that we can attack everybody and they're all close to us for Retaliate. So what are we going to enhance? I love starting out with Empathetic Assault. It's got a bottom move and a heal to self, so that's a target. You can add a strengthen on that. So you're going to bottom move 2, heal 2, and strengthen. And again, that's going to give us advantage on more attacks. It's going to allow us to cycle through the modifier deck quicker. And because of that, we're going to hit our Immobilizes and our Muddles at a higher frequency. Next, we've got Scurry. Scurry, we're going to add either an Immobilize or a Muddle. And this is going to allow us, either control or tankiness, depending on which. And I mean, Muddle is a lot cheaper, so you may go with Muddle. Let's go over the first couple turns so you have an idea of how this build works. 99% of the time, you're going to want to go as fast as you can in this build so that your Retaliate hits monsters and you go before them and you're as effective as possible. On the first turn, though, you want to go slow. So you're going to start with Vicious Blood top and you're going to go Withering Claw bottom. That's going to allow you to move into position, get your Retaliate up, get one little hit in with Vicious Blood, and then be set up for next turn. Next, turn 2, you're going to want to go fast. You're going to want to use Brain Leech, the bottom, and Corrupting Embrace top. This is going to give you an initiative of 16, and we'll talk about items later that can help you with that. No spoilers. But you're going to attack 1 strengthen, so you're going to have advantage, and then you're going to attack 1 poison, attack 1 muddle with Corrupting Embrace. You're going to have 6 retaliate up, you're going to poison, you're going to muddle, you're going to have advantage on 2 of the attacks. It's going to be great. And then that's what you want to do each turn. You want to pair a bottom attack or a move with a top attack, and you want to go fast so that you can get in there and retaliate. So how much is this build going to retaliate? It's going to retaliate between 4 and 6, and you're probably going to do around 4 to 5 damage with your attacks. It can burst much higher, and we'll talk about how to make that happen when we go into the items next. But generally, you're going to be between 4 and 6, and topping out at 10. Yes, 10 retaliate. Items coming up next. For items at Prosperity level 5, we're going to have the Eagle Eye Goggles on the head. This card is key to us actually making the Retaliate effective because we're going to use it and we're going to have a decent amount of attacks per turn. You know, sometimes up to 5. Most of the time it's going to be 2 or 3. but it's going to allow us to cycle through a modifier deck quickly so that we can immobilize and muddle so that we can, have effective retaliate, and we can tank hits because everyone's going to be attacking us with disadvantage. On the chest, we've got studded leather. This is just so that we can tank. Again, it's disadvantage and shield. Boots, we're going to go boots of speed because we want to manage initiative to make sure that our retaliate works. And so just save them until a time when your retaliate is not going to be ahead of an enemy and you really need it to be. On the hands, we're going tower shield in one and heater shield in the other. Yes, you are a rat that is dual wielding shields. I mean, just think about it. It's awesome. For small items, we've got our key item for burst retaliate, and that's going to be the Ring of Haste. And so what you're going to do is you're going to play Corrupting Embrace with a bottom attack, and then you're going to use your Ring of Haste to play Pilfer, and that's going to give you 5 total attacks for 10 retaliate, and you're going to be able to move around in position. Depending on the attack, you may strengthen or wound, and you're going to be able to do a ridiculous amount of damage. I have done over 60 damage using this move and wiped out, a ton of different shielded enemies. Trying to stay away from spoilers here. Okay, next is Moon Earring. Moon Earring is going to allow you to get back every item that you've used except for your consume. So you're going to get back the Eagle Eye Goggles, the Studded Leather, the Tower Shield, and the Heater Shield all in one shot. And that's really going to contribute to you being able to tank more hits. Next, we've got a Major Stam. And the Major Stam is just utility. You get those cards back, use Corrupting Embrace multiple times in a turn. For the last pick, we've got either a Major Healing Potion, because you are going to be in there, and sometimes you're going to get caught when you've used up all your shield or whatever, and you're going to need to heal. But if you've got a healer with you, you want to go Minor Stam, and then first turn you could use Corrupting Embrace 3 times before you have to rest, and that's going to allow you to be really effective and get Retaliate 6 up a lot with all of your bottom attacks. All right, I hope you've liked this guide where we make the Mind Thief effective at later levels, and we use the Mind's Weakness card, but we do not use the top of it. And that's the key here. I like to do things a little bit differently and have fun with this game because there's so many cool little things you can do. Go ahead, like the video, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications so that when I make new content, you're notified, and go ahead and comment below.